Whew. I just had to catch fire on me. Had to bust out the fire extinguisher for that one. Whew. Looks like the air box. Looks like the air box took it. Took me a second to find it because the smoke was coming out the front. Oh, well, I guess that means I gotta pull this one up, pull the rear plastics off, see what we hit. Did we hit the wiring? Got it pretty quick there, but it took me 60 seconds. It took me 60 seconds once I realized it was burning to get it out, but it might have been on fire for another 60 seconds beyond that. All right, let's roll it over, take a look, see what we just did here. All right, taking a quick look. CDI, some of this wiring got a little crispy. We're going to want to disconnect the battery, take a look at that. And I got some other crispy wiring and a connector at the solenoid. And the airbox. Started in the airbox. Sealed up airbox, but something got back and ignited. Looking around. Oof. So salvageable was not the plan for the day. So what happened? So they were sitting on the trailer over there, and they'd been sitting for a while, so I went to start them up. And this one was struggling to start a little bit, choked it, cranking a bunch. Still wouldn't fire. Opened up the airbox, gave it a shot of starter fluid. It fired and stalled out. Got the fire again, stayed on the gas, kept the revs up a little bit. And then it went and it died out. It was pretty quick. And I said, huh. And then I started seeing smoke coming out the front up here, which was interesting. And on this unit, the air intake tube comes from the front. So at that point, the airbox was on fire and the smoke was coming out the tube. So I'm looking in here, I don't see anything. You see I pulled the front apart real quick. First place I shot with fire extinguisher fluid was right there. And then I yanked it off the trailer, shut off the fuel. And as it came around the back, I had the cover off and I could see a little campfire going in there. So shot that with the fire extinguisher real quick and all good. But thank goodness for the fire extinguisher, and this is why I've started carrying them on the trail. You just don't know. And the Big Bear that I built, the spare parts one had caught the plastics on fire around the airbox and the exhaust, and that's how that one went. This couldn't have been on fire longer than 60 seconds, and there's the damage there. If you were in the woods without a fire extinguisher, I mean, the thing's probably engulfed in all of 3 minutes. Never mind what could happen out on the trail. So moral of that story, yes, carry the fire extinguishers with you. Thank goodness I have one in the shed. So what are we going to do about this? I'm going to put on a mask. I'm going to blow off the fire extinguisher dust on here, and we're going to get towards tearing out the airbox, seeing what is salvageable, if I have to replace the airbox or do something different like a pod, get it back on the trail, but also figure out why I didn't want to fire today. Okay, so we got a melted solenoid connector here. Harness will have to be unwrapped, gone through some splicing. Solenoid, we can extend the wires, get rid of the connector here, and just go straight into the post, so we can strip this back, wire that in. Negative wire, doesn't look like it got through the sheathing, but we're going to want to clean that up. CDI, tough to say. We're going to have to strip all this back and see if we can Connector is good. Maybe we can splice in. So we've got to take the CDI off. We've got to take the solenoid off. We've got to peel back harness to see if we can salvage that. And this one here, this one's going to be the interesting one. Swapping this out. And let's see if we can get the airbox out. Let's see. There we go. Boy, I don't even know where that bolt came from in there. Really held on by two. 1, 2. And then this is your air intake that runs up the center pipe there to the front where I saw the smoke coming out. And this one's to the carb. And really wasn't pulling smoke into the carb. Now we're gonna have to clean that anyway, but this is where the fire was. Oh, well, so that's what we gotta work on. And unknown nut there. Well, it's probably a good time to, it's been years since I've been through this guy. I need a new gasket down here. This is a rough ride on the shock. I mean, it's a 1986. Got lucky with that one. Yeah, got lucky there. So, funny where the next projects come from. Literally just barely finishing the trail boss. Getting that down, getting it coordinated, get up on the trailer and all that as we get ready to go for a ride. And I catch another one on fire. It's always something. I think I'm going to crack a beer and sit down to opening up that harness and understanding what do I need to get, what do I need to do, and figuring out why it happened. Let's not have this catch fire out on the trail. All right, well, here's the assessment. Carb intake boot, fine. Needs to be washed. Got the fire before it melted anything there. Air intake coming off the frame. We got a little bit to clean up in there, but it's not compromised. It's okay. So we'll end up reusing this. It's just got to be cleaned up, deburred and all that. So none of that gets pulled up and caught in the air filter and lean things out. Here's the harness. So the main loom peeled back. We've got a few pieces we're going to have to splice here. For example, this one, while it doesn't look compromised, it'd be better to swipe, splice in a piece there. The other one here, this is the main loom, looking good. Going down to the solenoid. This one was burning. You see it's all exposed through here. We're going to cut this back and we're just going to straight extend it to some eye hooks right into the solenoid. So we'll just get rid of the connector, simplify there. I don't think I'll put another connector in there. Over here, this one will be a little bit of a pain to wire. This connector. I'm going to take a deeper look at this. I might fill it with a shoe goo because the connector itself is fine. If I can do it without shorting out, it performs okay. Again, not a great fix. That's a trail fix. We'll have to check the relay. And then I called this the CDI. This looks to be the rectifier for charging the battery. Yes, this one took quite a hit. This one took quite a hit, and there's not a lot of good wiring to work with here. Even if I clip this all the way back, not a whole lot to splice in. This is OEM, so this is a tough loss here. OEM's about $100. I have put knockoffs in off Amazon for about 20 bucks. So that could be the scenario there. So all in all, this looks like it's a beer or two to swap in some wiring. And I need a box. If I'm not going to do a box, if I'm not going to run a box, then I'd be running the carb intake back, this guy, and putting a pod on. Trick is, as soon as you put a pod on, dust, dirt, and mud creates a challenge. So we're going to see if we can hunt one of those for cheap money. If we can, we're going to get it back together the way it was. Yep, so super lucky. Goodness. Let's see. How many have I caught on fire now? That's 2 anyway. I've caught one on fire while I was welding, and that one I caught on fire trying to start. Let's take a look at the seat and the air filter here. Caught it quick, so the seat's okay. That's fine. Just a little bit of smoke damage. And the filter, however it caught, must have backfired. That's going to be my guess, is that it backfired out when I was trying to start it, and I had just hit this with starter fluid and it ignited the airbox. That's my guess. So be careful with that starter fluid when you're having a hard time there. But that's it for now. I'm going to settle into doing some of the wiring and getting this thing straightened out and go from there.